Hello everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Dragon Age, the Veilguard. It was developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts and released on October 31st of 2024 for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X and S, and PC. And this is considered the fourth game in the Dragon Age series at this point, and this plot takes place 10 years after the end of Dragon Age Inquisition. And I have to say, I have to actually point this out about this game. I'm surprised that this game actually ever really came out. It went through massive development hell, tons of delays, constant design changes. At first, they wanted it to be one of these online money grab services, and then they were having issues with Anthem and their other games, so they took a lot of people off of this to work on that. And so there was lots of staff turnover, and development started all the way back in 2015 on this. And it's went through many iterations and finally has been the game that we're seeing today. Now, Veilguard turns out to be a single-player action RPG. Now, one of the main staples of the Dragon Age franchise is the fact that your decisions that you've made in previous games, with your choices of your dialogue and other aspects, would be carried over that would lead to consequences in the sequels. Well, guess what? This one doesn't have any of that. No. Instead, the developers opted for you being able to pick 3 back choices from the previous game if you wanted to that would affect parts in this game. They said it was to avoid contradiction. I think it's the fact that they just wanted to get the game done, and if they actually took the time to actually add that much more to it, it was in development hell for so long, that would just make it even worse. So I think they just went the route that way to make it easier on themselves. Now, once you actually boot up this 80 gig game, you start off with the naturally standard issue create a player mode where you can choose from 4 different races. You can be a human, a dwarf, an elf, or a Quelnarni. Basically the horned guy I created, that's what they are. And then you get to choose a fighting class, which there's 3 of them. You have rogues, mages, and warriors. Naturally, the rogues are more like bow-operated, eccentric. Mage are magic dealers, and warriors are up and, in your face slashers. Naturally, as you can tell, I picked mage because I just like shooting from a distance and rolling out of the way. And after you do that, then you get to pick a faction that adds a nice little backstory to your character. And there's 6 different factions you can choose. Now, they have a lot more options in the creative player of this game than the previous games. I'll give them that. I mean, you can even adjust the body size of parts of your body and even pick a pronoun that, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, you can even pick a pronoun. Now, on top of that, as you play through this adventure, you end up teaming up with 7 different companion characters. Unlike previous games, though, you cannot control them. That is a big disappointment for me because that makes me feel like this is less of a Dragon Age game, because that was one of the main staples, was one, being able to carry over your decisions from the previous games and also be able to swap and play the other characters. But you can't in this one. And the gameplay is action-based with this ability similar to the last game that you can go to this pause selection screen to choose different attacks for you and your team members. Honestly, it plays out more like God of War. It really does. It seems to have lost some of the magic of Dragon Age, even though it's still a really good game. And the other thing I have to point out is the game world itself is quite linear. It really is. Most of it is just like a central hub you go to, and from that, there's these paths that you take that doesn't have really many open areas to explore at all. Yeah, it's pretty much a central hub with paths. Now, one thing I will give it credit for is your character has a massive skill tree in this. My goodness, with different things you can actually be a proficient at. Honestly, it's a great skill tree, and I love the fact that you can reset your points at any time. So that, hands down, is a really, really good thing. Now, the gameplay itself is fun, it's fast, it's frantic, lots of good boss battles, lots of good fights. I love the enemy designs in this. The enemy monster designs are really disturbingly cool looking. They look like they jumped off a cover of a death metal album. Honestly, it's really, really good. That is really cool. But like I said, even with this boss battles and these fights and everything, it feels more like a God of War game and less of a Dragon Age game. Even with the fact that the game world is beautiful. It's vibrant. There's lots of different areas you go to. But the fact of the matter is, I just can't help but sit here and go, okay, we're going on this mission. You, and you come with me, and we're going to go down this path to solve this mission and kill these bad guys and get our information, save people, get an item, and then teleport back to the hub. Buy more items, upgrade your character, get new, equipments, and go out and rinse and repeat. And that's really what the game is. I mean, it's fun. It has a lot of variety in terms of the dynamic areas that you go through, but the gameplay itself is basically running and gunning. It's like God of War. You're just running, you're shooting off your magic attacks, putting up shields, rolling out of the way, and that's really about it. Honestly, it's not disappointing. In fact, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, considering all the delays and the fact that it even came out at all. I really am surprised, at least that the quality of it's up there. The voice acting's pretty decent. The music is spot on, because I think they had Hans Zimmer actually do the music for this. But one thing I got to point out is they also have all these characters, and some of the voice actors, I just don't like the character designs and their voice actors. They're not bad people. They just come off as unlikable to me. That's my personal opinion. Honestly, some of the body designs just look weird too. But besides the point, those are just nitpicky things that I complain about. Your playthrough of this might be completely different. You might not have any issues with it. But it just stood out that there's several of these characters that, I wouldn't say they're whiny, but they just come off as like, I don't like you. You seem like a pain in the ass. That's really what it is. None of them are really charming like previous Dragon Age characters. And that bothered me a bit. The other thing is the game size. Now, for how big this is, an 80 gig game, honestly, I'm not seeing why it's 80 gigs. Now, I will say this, size of the game, gameplay, and the game length, you're looking about minimum 50 hours to get through this, and around 70 hours for the middle ground. So there's a lot of people saying you can go over 100 hours easy in this, especially if you're trying to get 100% to platinum it or something like that. But in the end, my personal feeling is, for a full-price game on a current-gen system, Dragon Age: The Veilguard honestly turned out to be surprisingly a lot better than I was expecting. I'm happy to say it's not a cobbled-together shit show. It does have some issues. I've had some graphical pop-ins, stuff like that. No real slowdown, because I set it to performance mode instead of graphics mode. But hands down, it plays great. It looks great. It feels great. But it does seem like it's lost some of its Dragon Age charm that the previous games had. I am glad that they did not go the route of making this a live service game. They scrapped this so many times. One of the times they scrapped it, they were trying to make an Anthem out of this, and we all know how well that worked out. So in the end, I can't say. I'm fortunately glad to say this is a decent game. It looks great. It plays really well. I like the customization. I love the skill tree. The art designs, the enemy designs are great. The boss battles are okay, but not really that challenging. It's basically attack, roll out of their attack, and attack them back. So just keep that in mind. If you want to play this game, please leave in the comments below if you played Dragon Age: The Veilguard yet. What are your thoughts on it? What are your opinions? Do you agree or disagree on what I said about it in my review? And please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And of course, here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.